Good morning, everyone. Very nice to see so many of you, and grateful to be invited here today. My name is Jodi Ball, and this is Cassandra Bing. And Cassandra and I had the pleasure of working with Victoria and Jason and Audrey on the 2022 Local Labor Market Planning document. And so this morning I'm going to share with you some of the key findings from this year's report and recommendations that build on the strategic priorities identified in 2021. So as an introduction, a quick overview of the Workforce Planning Board. Chatham-Kent Workforce Planning Board was created in 2009 to meet local need in workforce planning. The board's mandate is to plan, facilitate, and advocate for local workforce development. Workforce development is defined as the development, retention, and recruitment of a wide range of skilled workers to meet the current and future economic and social development needs of Chatham-Kent. And as part of this mandate, the Workforce Planning Board prepares an annual local labor market planning document. The purpose of the Local Labor Market Plan, or affectionately known as the LLMP, is to present labor market trends in Chatham-Kent, assess current needs, and outline strategic actions to respond to current labor market challenges. Closer. Yes. Or maybe we can bring this closer because the cord is a little dicey. Okay, is that better? No? I can try to speak up a little bit too. How's that? Okay, nodding heads in the back. I will do my best. Okay, and just raise your hand at the back if you can't hear, and I will adjust. So the LLMP is intended to support residents and job seekers in finding and maintaining employment, to support education and employment organizations in identifying gaps and trends in the local labor market, supporting employers in accessing required labor pool and expanding business opportunities, and supporting policymakers in strategic planning and workforce investments. As a recap, the 2021 LLMP identified 3 strategic priorities for the Workforce Planning Board. This is developing resources to support employers and job seekers, foster local partnerships among employers, educators, and agencies, and enhance research of the local labor market. So over the past year, a number of actions within these priority areas have been undertaken. I'm not going to go over all of them today, but I do want to highlight a few, and I also want to highlight that there will be more information in the 2022 report when that comes out later this month. So the first is ChathamKentJobs.com. So this tool was launched in 2021 and consolidates job postings from up to 40 popular job boards and presents postings to job seekers in one spot. And so this has been a big initiative over the last couple years. And in support of this, Chatham-Kent Community Attraction and Promotion, Economic Development, and Employment and Social Services hosted a webinar supporting local employers in how to digitize job postings. The Chatham-Kent Community Leaders Cabinet Job Preparation Action Team initiated a video project and speakers directory. So the video project is aimed at providing local high school students with an experiential learning opportunity by producing Chatham-Kent specific employer career videos. And the speakers directory is aimed at engaging employers that want to engage schools and classes to build awareness of needs and opportunities in the local labor force. There's also a monthly newsletter that's been created sharing Chatham-Kent labor market information and workforce events. Community Attraction and Promotion sponsored the Human Resources Professionals Association Cracking the Code to Talent Attraction event. There's ongoing literacy and basic skills programming throughout through organizations such as Adult Language and Learning, see Tracy there, Lambton-Kent District School Board, and St. Clair College. Chatham-Kent Local Immigration Partnership hosted Welcome Week, which included connecting local employers with local employees, and a networking fair providing opportunity for newcomers to explore existing community career and entrepreneurial supports. St. Clair College hosted International Student Job Fair with local employers, and the Employer One survey, which asks employers to share their workforce insights to identify challenges. This survey was reviewed and expanded in 2022. Jason's gonna go over some of those findings after our presentation. So a couple highlights from the community profile. Chatham-Kent's population has been relatively consistent over the past 10 years, but has been increasing slightly each year over the past 6 years, from 104,634 in 2016 to 107,540 in 2021, and has exceeded 2011 levels. Looking at population by age, in 2021, Chatham-Kent's older adult population, so in this case that's 60 plus, made up over 32% of the entire population, which is higher than in 2011 when older adults, again 60 plus, accounted for 25% of the population. Like communities across Ontario and Canada, Chatham-Kent's population is aging, which is likely driving reductions in the labor force now and into the future. The largest increase in Chatham-Kent's population between 2016 and 2021 were among the 65 to 75 age range, coinciding with the aging boomer generation. People in this age range are typically exiting or already out of the workforce, although labor force participation rates for this group have been increasing over time. In 2010, for example, 29.2% of people 65 years and over were in the labor force, compared to 33% in 2020. And we're going to look at labor participation rates as well. Educational attainment. So Chatham-Kent's workforce has higher rates of college, apprenticeship, and other trade certificates. The community has lower rates of university education. Mobility and migration. In 2020-2021, Chatham-Kent saw a sizable increase in net intra-provincial migration. So people from other parts of the province were an important source of population for the workforce. And at the same time, Chatham-Kent has seen an increase in net inter-provincial out-migration, suggesting some employees are potentially being attracted to other provinces. Workforce trends. So labor force includes those actively employed or looking for employment. The size of Chatham-Kent's labor force in 2021 increased from 2020 by about 2,000 people, so up from just under 47,000 to just under 49,000. And over the past 10 years has declined by about 7%. So participation rates. Chatham-Kent saw approximately 5,550 people drop out of the labor market at the start of the pandemic, but the number of people employed or seeking employment has recovered, and in September 2022, it exceeded pre-pandemic levels. So participation rates by age group, a few things I want to highlight here. And the first thing I'll highlight is that if you're looking at the table on the slide, where you see orange, that's where Chatham-Kent is higher or significantly higher than the province, and those in green are where Chatham-Kent is, green is where Chatham-Kent is higher, orange is where Chatham-Kent is lower than the province. So in 2020, 44.3% of males 65 years and older were still active in Chatham-Kent's labor market, compared to 37.7% in Ontario as a whole. Youth, another one to highlight, between the ages of 15 and 19 participating in the labor force was 9% higher than the provincial average at 44.2% compared to 35.2%. Labor force participation rates was 5.9% lower for females aged 25 to 29 than Ontario, which may be reflective of higher fertility rates in Chatham-Kent. And overall, comparing 2020 to 2019, the most sizable difference in the labor market participation was among both males and females between the ages of 20 and 24, where the rate dropped from 86.8% in 2019 to 84.4% in 2020. So employment in all main industries in the Windsor-Sarnia economic regions recovered to levels approximately equal to or above pre-pandemic levels in 2020. Industries that continued seeing increased employment throughout 2020 and 2021 were manufacturing, construction, transportation and warehousing, professional, scientific and technical services, educational services, and arts and entertainment and recreation. Another one we wanted to highlight here, Chatham-Kent's share of people working from home is significantly lower than the rest of Canada and Ontario. So people working from home in Chatham-Kent is 59% lower than Ontario. Industry trends, business counts. So looking at business counts, Chatham-Kent saw a net loss of one medium-sized business with 100 to 199 employees, while the number of businesses in all other categories increased. Chatham-Kent's economy saw a net gain of 255 employer business locations between June 2021 and 2022. The report will provide additional details on net gains and losses in the number of employer businesses by selected industry, but a couple to highlight are the largest net gains in the number of businesses were in the retail sector with a net gain of 56 businesses. Other sectors that experienced net gains were construction and manufacturing, and the finance and insurance sector was the only sector to see a net loss. Job postings by community. The proportion of job postings in Chatham declined from 2021 to 2022, while the proportion of job postings in the smaller population centers increased over this time. So similar to the 2021 LLMP, to support the 2022 LLMP, local stakeholders were engaged to share experiences, insights, and ideas. A series of interviews and focus group style discussions were held with various stakeholders. Some of you are here today, as well as the Employer One survey. So I'll share with you a few of the key themes to emerge through these conversations, and Jason is going to go over in more detail some of the survey results. So the labor pool gap was identified as a top concern by local stakeholders. Impacts have been felt across a broad spectrum of sectors, and impacts on employers include turning down work or expansion opportunities, reducing hours of operation, and hesitation from new employers wanting to locate in Chatham-Kent. External factors are a growing concern raised by stakeholders, so limited supply of affordable and rental housing options, limited public transportation, shortage of childcare spaces were all highlighted as key challenges in retaining and attracting employees to the area. So the labor market impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic are generally lessening, with some impacts, lingering impacts on food service and customer service jobs. So nearly 46% of employers stated the pandemic is impacting their workforce, with about 40% of those stating that absenteeism and frequent calling in sick is a top issue. 14% of respondents indicated that the pandemic has impacted their ability to operate at full capacity, which has resulted in a loss of revenue. 12% of employers also felt the pandemic was challenging their recruitment and retention efforts, and 8% were experiencing increased operational costs due to ongoing supply challenges or having to adhere to COVID-19 policies throughout 2022. Longer-term impacts include continued trends in hybrid working models. So with the aging workforce and tightening of supply and demand, employers reported workforce shortages and high competition for workers. Top hard-to-fill positions include general labor, financial administrative, healthcare, police officer, trades, early childhood educator, counselor, and CNC machinist. Survey responses indicated employers are less than satisfied with the availability of qualified workers in Chatham-Kent. And in particular, 45% of employers reported being less than satisfied with the labor pool of skilled laborers, suggesting a shortage of skilled labor in the municipality. And approximately 1/5 of employers reported that they had to alter business hours due to staffing shortages. Local employers, though, are making changes in an effort to attract employees. So including providing hybrid working environments, increasing pay, providing flexible hours to accommodate scheduling needs around transportation and childcare, for example. Employers are also reaching out to educational institutions more and providing more on-the-job training. Stakeholders also highlight that the new ECE program at St. Clair College has seen an increase in enrollment and that several job readiness programs seem to be having a positive impact. So some recommendations, and these recommendations really build on the strategic priorities from 2021 and are a reflection of a lot of work that's already underway. So the first is developing resources to support employers and job seekers. So continue to broadly promote awareness and the utilization of Chatham-Kent-Jobs.com. As part of the Explore Chatham-Kent Career Pathway and Jobs project, host the Learning, Earning, and Living CK Career Expo. As a municipality, continue to develop the resources that promote Chatham-Kent as a welcoming and inclusive community, sharing the results of the 2022 local labor market plan with local stakeholders, continuing the monthly newsletter, and with Chatham-Kent Employment and Social Services, supporting the development of videos showcasing different job sectors and positions. Under local partnerships, with education and skilled trade sector partners, exploring opportunities to support access to local training, continue to promote and create awareness of local basic skill and upskilling training programs, continue to promote and create awareness of local co-op and internship opportunities, continuously refine and expand membership of the cabinet working groups, and continue engagement with local stakeholders and employers. And with the Tri-County Literacy Network on Skills for Success project, work with the Tri-County Literacy Network on Skills for Success project, including initiatives for workplace literacy and apprenticeship. And then the last one, enhancing research of the local labor market. So continuing the research and sharing findings on potential causes of workforce shortage, including labor shortages, skills shortages, as well as wage differences in surrounding municipalities, as well as local infrastructure needs such as housing, transportation, childcare. Continue to research and understand the market needs of newcomers, and continue to develop, conduct, and share results of the annual Employer One survey, which is a great spot to turn it over to Jason to present those findings. So on behalf of Cassandra and I, thank you very much for the opportunity to present some key findings from the 2022 LLMP report. I'll turn it over to Jason.